God bless you. We're glad that you'll be back with us again for another Growing in Grace podcast. Glad that you're there. We'd like for you to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Tell your family, your friends, and if you have an enemy, perhaps you can make them a friend by helping them to grow in grace. So bring them over to this podcast so whosoever will can come and enjoy this podcast freely. There's no charge, and we love you, and we're glad that you're with us today. And we have a beautiful couple here today that's going to talk with us about their journey from then to now in love. And this is Deacon Irvin Boyd Jr., right, and his lovely wife, Karina Boyd, Sister Karina Boyd. And Deacon Boyd, sometimes in devotional, he does devotional, and he sings this song sometimes. It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
And who been by your side?
Jesus been right there by my side.
He been right there.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
And then there started out a time where Karina Boyd, what was it? Pounds. Yes. Karina Pounds. She came up. Jesus was there. And then was Karina. And she's been by your side too.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful to have. It's wonderful to have a wife. And the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtain favor of the Lord.
Yeah.
And so from then to now.
Yeah.
So let's talk. Let's talk. Because even those that might be listening are having a journey in the middle of one, or now, and everybody's different. Some people have come to the end of the journey with their spouse. Some are at the beginning, some in the middle. And I hope y'all in the, maybe in like the upper middle. How long y'all been together?
Don't look at me.
I know.
Oh, that's why it's a test. It's a test.
What, 27, 28?
That was a question.
Right.
I'm
it
waiting
was
for
a
the
question.
statement, though.
Yeah.
We've been together going on 29 years, or 28 years. So next month will be 29 years.
Next month will be 29. And I was in the range because y'all started just a little before my wife and I.
Yeah.
And we had 28, and when we hit 29 in March, and y'all got married just a few months before us, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
So tell me about the journey. Start at the beginning.
The beginning.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, it was Irvin. And Irvin said, I want a wife. And I looked out and saw her. We met. It was a blind date. And me, full of myself, it was a blind date. And I looked at
Okay, stop. We gonna pause right now. Okay, but blind date.
A blind date.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, how blind date?
Well, my brother was dating her sister.
Ah, I see.
And asked me to go on a date with him.
Okay, I see. So it's a double date.
Yes.
Blind for you. Your brother could see.
He could see. Yeah, I couldn't see.
Okay.
And, me, okay, why not?
Okay.
I ain't got nothing else to do. So I went on there and I looked out and said, okay. And started talking to her. Didn't have a lot of interest at first. But the same interest, rather. But we found a commonality. We both liked sports. And we started grooving and all of that with that. And she ran track and I ran track. So that was another interest that we had. And we just grew from there. We started liking each other. And not sure when she started liking me. But no, I started liking her. And had to go get her. Yeah, had to go. She was in. We broke up. We broke up, and was it really a breakup? It was a breakup.
It was a
Okay.
Yeah.
We broke up, and she went to the military. And then I think 6 months later, I went to the military. And then I said, yeah, something about her. Let me go get her. So I was still in the military. She was still in the military. We was on different bases. So I tracked her down.
Were y'all in the same state?
No, different state.
Okay.
I think I was here in Georgia, and I think she was in Kentucky. So I took a journey.
Different states, different branches.
Yep. And
Yeah,
I
was-
took
What branch were you in?
Army.
And you
Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took a journey, went in, got her.
So, yeah. Okay, you got a lot of blanks. Come on, sister Karina. No,
A lot of blanks.
yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Because it's
okay.
interesting, actually. You. What did you do?
I found out what she was.
Uh-huh.
See, this is what I did.
Okay.
I was talking to her mother.
That's what he did.
Okay. Okay.
See what I'm saying? Talking to her mother.
For hours at a time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, so I just, when you find a good thing, you got to go make sure that mama agree with you.
Okay.
So I started talking to her mother, and the mother was giving me the ride act. You let her go, blah blah blah. Yeah, I let her go. She wasn't mine. I had to
Oh,
let
so
her-
she was kind of upset with you?
Yeah,
She was
upset
fussing
with-
at you?
Yes.
Okay.
She was fussing at me. I said I had to let her go. She wasn't mine or anything like that. So when I wanted to meet her, meet back up with her, I think her mother told me where she was. So I said, okay. Went up there and got her. She never knew what I was gonna do or whatever. So I went up there and tried to find her. And found her, and we've been together ever since.
Oh, really? So what did that do for you?
For him to come and find me?
For him to come and find
Oh,
you?
I was completely shocked. He was probably... I
Because
can't
it
even
was a
say-
bold move.
Yeah, it was...
You didn't know that he was coming, did you?
No, I was at work. So at the time I was working in... See?
Yes, man.
I
He's
was
something else, man.
When you think you the man, you the man.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sister. Tell us what you thought about that.
So it was a shock. I was working in the hospital at the time, and I just got a phone call from the staff downstairs saying, "Hey, you have a visitor." And I'm like, "Who?" And they told me his name, and I was shocked. Like, how did he find me? Where did he come from? Like, knowing that he had gone into the Air Force, for me, it was like, how far did he drive to come and find me?
So let me ask you another question. Did it ever occur to you to say, maybe I should get the MPs?
No.
I got to stalk.
No, and I didn't, because he says he didn't know when I fell for him, but I fell for him before we broke up. We broke up because I was going into the military. And that was a true sob story for my mom. That's why my mom was probably so mad at you. Is because I cried and cried and cried. He's the best person that's ever treated me, worth something. And that's what, even though he says that he was just treating me like a regular person, but I felt like he was treating me better than anybody else that I had ever tried to talk to. Not that there were a lot of people that I talked to, but he just did it right, in my opinion. He was very respectful. So, no, didn't want to call the MPs because, this is the one that, my heart was still wrapped into.
To know that he had came and he was there, some started.
Oh, yeah, it meant
Yeah.
so much then. It was a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Good job, man. Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
So y'all just hit it off from there.
From there, it was, well, I can't.
You know he was serious then. Say, man, he done come all this way.
Well, I found out that he was serious because my mom then told me that he was calling her a lot on the phone and they were having long conversations. So that my mom got into my ear and saying that he's a good person and that, I should talk to him. I had a boyfriend. When he came back up there, I had a boyfriend. I was still cordial and communicated with him, but I made sure he knew that at the time I was talking to somebody else. He didn't give up. Thank God. He didn't give up.
Had to chase it down. Huh?
Yeah, man. You have to work.
You know, I want to say this at this point though. I see something in men now that some of the men now they don't have.
The chase in them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's what some of the women are looking for now.
Yeah.
The guy to actually have that thing, that wherewithal with inside of him to go get what. I mean, not like a Neanderthal or
Right,
anything
right,
like that,
right.
but in the appropriate right way. You know, you go after what you want with love and respect and persistence. You know, appropriate
Right.
persistence.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made me feel like I knew that he could take care of me because he went to the extremes to try to communicate with me again. So it do kind of make you feel like at that point he went through all of that. I know he's going to take care of me, you know, if things keep progressing forward. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how you get dude out the way? The other dude, you know.
My mom.
Okay.
My mom helped me to get it was the pros and cons, and the other person was just not where I needed to be. Being raised in holiness like I was, the actions that he was doing and the actions that I was comfortable with were not, they didn't match up. But me knowing him and having known his family being in church, that helped a whole lot as well. So it was like, I needed somebody who, like he always says about me, he tried to find somebody who had some church in her. I needed somebody that had some church in him too. So
I see.
yeah,
I see.
it was my mom continuing to tell me he's better than the other person. He's better.
So
than
she
the
helped
other
you.
person. She
Yeah, I didn't know that.
She did.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You did a good job in talking to that to the mom.
Yeah, when like I said, when you find somebody that you're compatible with, and you can't, they won't leave your mind, and then okay, we can probably do some stuff. You know, I actually kind of even before we got married or whatever, started taking care of it before then. You know, started paying her bills and different things like that because, you know, I didn't want her to have to worry about anything. You know, don't worry about it. I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it. So, just trying to take care of it kind of before
Yeah.
things kind of got to going real hard and heavy. You know, making sure that, you know, I didn't want her thinking about anything, worrying about anything because, yeah, I'm here.
So when did y'all know that y'all wanted to get married?
I feel like
How long did it take you to know that
I knew I wanted to marry him before we broke up.
before you broke up?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to marry him, but I don't know when he felt like he wanted to marry me.
This is not necessarily a test.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
you have to. I'm almost say like sometimes you have to listen to, you know, what the your inner voice is telling you. I don't necessarily know when. I said, yeah, this is the one. I don't know when that was, but when I met back up with her, it still wasn't there. But then something.
So even
happened.
when you went to Kentucky,
it
you
still wasn't there. It still wasn't.
Yeah.
But then something happened. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was I looked at it and saw something. I don't know exactly what it was. And I was saying, yeah, that's the one. Then I started talking to my mother. I started talking to my mother. Now, kind of like her, if my mother hadn't said it was going to work out, we probably wouldn't have.
You had confidence in what your mother said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, she had mother been there since the beginning, so might as well.
The whole time.
The whole time. Might as well let her help me now. You know. So my mother said, yeah, I think y'all gonna be okay. So that was the sign off. That's the check mark right there. So we went on and, you know, got married and everything. And
So what was your time frame? How long from beginning to marriage? Do you remember?
So we met in 92 or 90, was it 92?
yeah.
We met
I think
in
it was
92 and was married in 94.
Okay. So y'all didn't do the 6 years dating and
No.
I probably would have gave up.
yeah.
That's a little too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very good. So you got married. All right. So now we have marriage. We have marriage. And so tell us a little bit about the beginning of marriage.
The beginning of marriage for me was a challenge. Not that I was not still in the honeymoon phase, but taking direction from another person that was around your same age was.
You was in the military.
But-
What are you talking about?
But my brain was like, you tell me what to do. Like, it was stuff like that. And I had to overcome the fact that he was my spouse. There were times that, one time in particular, I know I got very upset with him and I was just ready to come home. I wanted to go back home to my, yes, there was. I wanted to go back home to mama because it didn't go the way, the answer that he gave me wasn't the answer that I wanted. So it was an adjustment, adjusting to somebody else having the oversight over our partnership.
Yes.
That was an adjustment for me.
Yeah. So the submission part for you.
Yes. Yes.
So what helped you to overcome that?
I really don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it was the fact that I probably got overly consumed with our family and raising our family and trusting in his direction for our family. So when it was no longer just me and him and we had a child, I had to trust his direction for
The family.
the family.
So you feel like maybe after your first child, things kind of shifted in
Yes.
you.
Yes.
I see. Wonderful. Now, what about you? How was the beginning for you?
It was an adjustment because you are no longer thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the big picture. I've always been pretty good with money, so I wanted to make sure that everything was always lined up with that. Our views, how we looked at money, was different. Even now, it's different. I got different avenues or piles, so to speak. We got to live. That's her thing. We got to live. Yeah, we got to live, but we got to live tomorrow too. So
Yeah, different vantage points. Me and my wife are different too.
Yes.
So thinking about that from that
Yeah.
perspective, like I said, I've always been pretty good with money. Never been a big spender. So just knowing that you had to have something for a rainy day was a little different. Thinking about it from that perspective was different. I tell you what, I wasn't a big spender, but I remember going to a mall one time. I think she was pregnant. We didn't have a wash and dryer. I was okay with going to the laundromat washing clothes.
You were?
Yeah, I was. It wasn't a big thing for me. It wasn't.
Okay.
It just wasn't. See, I wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't a big thing for me. But we walking through the mall one day, and she said, "Let's go over here and look at these wash and dryer." What? That's more money. Yeah. Walked out of the mall with washers and dryers. So I'm like, now what have I gotten myself into? Now, I think at that particular point in time, that was probably my second biggest purchase. So I'm like, yeah, I wasn't. And I had to get it on credit. Oh, so I'm stepping outside my box. Look what this woman done did. So that's kind of how you know, okay, somebody else helping you think is a good thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes, we talk about her, the woman, trusting the man.
Yeah.
But sometimes, a lot of times, the man got to trust that woman.
You bring up a very great point. man, I don't think my life would be what it is today.
Oh, I know mine
if
would.
it wasn't for my wife.
I know mine
Man,
would.
I'd probably, in a trailer park somewhere.
And be content.
Well, all the trailer park people, I'm not against you. I'm not against you. If that's okay.
Yeah.
But because all I'm saying is simply this, that I probably would have had a house with wheels under it.
Yeah.
I ain't no telling what it would look like.
Right.
Because a lot of stuff I just did not care about.
Right.
I just didn't.
Right.
It wasn't my thing.
Exactly.
It wasn't my thing. I was thinking about just traveling and ministering here, ministering there, house with wheels, making it easy. You just roll it on.
Yeah.
Keep rolling on.
Yeah.
My wife wanted a foundation. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
She wanted a house with foundation
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
And laundromat, my wife, why? I
They
don't
help you
think they
think a
care
little
too much about no laundromat.
Right. But
now.
they help you think differently.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm like, okay, I got to start thinking just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Maybe not stack all the money.
Yes.
Save some and use some.
What they call now and later.
Exactly.
Like your wife said, we got to live now.
Right.
And then you say we got to live later.
Right.
And we need to do both.
Exactly.
So we need now and later.
Yes.
So the compromise was needed and necessary
Yes.
and wanted,
Yes.
because when I first got married, I told my wife I didn't want a slave.
Thank God.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted a partner. I wanted somebody to help me think,
Yes.
to help me achieve, to make me better. I didn't want a slave. She didn't want to wake up in the morning and fix me breakfast. She started out doing that. I said, no, get some rest. Because, she had the kids and all of that stuff like that. She wanted to try to do it. I said, no, sit down, take some rest, because she's tired all the time. But just wanting to be what she wanted me to be or what she needed me to be, that was my goal as a husband. I didn't want her to have to struggle, for what she wanted or whatever. So always thinking about, okay, how can I make my family better? How can I do this or how can I do that? And that thinking would not have been there if she wasn't a present help.
Yes.
So
when did you realize that you really wanted your wife to help you think, and really begin to pay attention to her voice?
in the beginning,
In the
in the very beginning, I'm a homebody. But my wife, she likes to go out. She's outgoing. So we first got married. She wanted to go, shopping. Okay, baby, let's go shopping. She wanted to go to yard sales or salvage yards or whatever. Okay, baby, let's go. So listening to her doing what she wanted to do. I could stay home anytime I want, but doing what she wanted to do was I wanted to make her happy.
Yeah. So that's really a very positive thing. I even think about, sometimes men may think that he don't supposed to listen to his wife, but I know that Abraham
Had to.
Well, at one point he might not exercise the best judgment.
Right.
And if he had to exercise the right judgment at first, when Sarah said, here's Haggai, maybe you could have Haggai. That's when he should have said, baby,
Yeah,
I ain't doing it.
yeah.
Baby, I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
That's when he should have not listened.
Yeah,
But he
right.
listened to that. But then when Haggai had Ishmael, and Ishmael got to be a certain age, and then, of course, eventually Sarah had Isaac, and then Isaac was being weaned, and Ishmael was mocking Isaac being weaned, and then Sarah says, you need to get rid of the bondwoman and her son.
Right.
He's not going to be heir with my son.
Right.
Abraham's like, that's
my
boy.
son. Yeah.
He's my boy,
My boy
too.
too.
He's
Yeah.
my boy too. He had a lot of, but the Lord told him, hearken to the voice of your wife. She's right in this. And I just say that to put it on the record that Yeah, there are times when you need to listen. A husband should actually listen to his wife,
Right.
because she's not wrong about everything.
Not everything.
She's not wrong about everything, and she's not right all the time either.
That's
Right.
right.
But you've got to have an ear and discernment
Right.
to know when and when not, and that give and take.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with it. Yes, I do. And he is right. I mean, that is the way that he has operated in our relationship from the very beginning. He does take the time out to listen. There's a lot of additional conversations sometimes that have to be had for the point to get across, because sometimes he may not see it the way that I see it. There were number of times when it was, I think he thought that I was just reacting off of emotion. Some of the like the requests or things that I say, hey, let's go do this. I think he thought that I was acting much more off of emotion versus like really doing the research at things. And I think he now knows that like she takes that.
Kind of thorough.
Yeah. I kind of put a lot of thought into things before I kind of even try to bring it to him. Nights upon nights, days upon days of looking at stuff, and then try to get his opinion on it. Yeah, and sometimes if his opinion doesn't match my opinion, I go back again. And eventually we'll come to the agreement on how things are going to be carried out as a mutual thought versus just my thought by itself or his thought by itself.
Right. So what do you think about that?
That's how we've operated. Prime example, we wanted to. She kept coming to me about selling our house. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not seeing it. And then this last time she said, I'm seeing this. And when she lined everything up, I'm like, yeah, okay, let's go with it. You know, I try not to make big moves without her. And she tries not to make big moves without me. Just wanting to, and I've learned that when we do that, it makes the road smoother, a lot smoother. I like having a person who helps me think, who helps me evaluate a situation. And when I'm huffing and puffing, she say, "No, not like that. Do it like this." You know, or when she's upset or something, I say, "Okay, let's do it like this or do it like that." It makes life a lot easier. Now, when we go against the grain, yeah, the road get kind of hard.
Yes.
It
Get kind of hard. So you say, okay, let's reevaluate.
You talking about like going against each other, like where you really hadn't come together on a thing,
right.
and you just
Just
going to
doing
do
stuff.
it anyway,
Yeah, just doing
and
it.
in spite of, and just
Yeah.
not like you're not going to pay attention to each other's voices.
Right.
Yeah. So you come. Let's reevaluate. And I think I recently told her, I said, when we make decisions, we need to make sure that we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Because it makes things a lot easier, and you don't move as fast sometimes.
Yes, that's true.
So
yeah, sometimes you have to slow down a little bit anyway,
count up the cost.
to count up the cost and evaluate things. My wife, not too long ago, I say this, I had a journey to make and to go out of town. My wife says, call Minister Pullen and see if you could ride with him. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, I got this to do and that's to do, and I don't want to call him. Then another voice come to me and said, you know what? Why not just call and ask him?
Yeah.
Because that actually may be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
That wasn't an original thought from me. It was coming from my wife, and she was actually looking out for me.
Right.
And you know what happened? I called Minister Pullen, and that was the perfect thing to do. It worked out perfectly because the meeting I had, it involved him and then the other passenger that rode with us too. And then I ended up not having to drive at all. Whereas I was going to have to drive both ways by myself and all of this. And so what she had offered up to me was the best plan.
Right.
It wasn't my original thought, but it was a blessing to me.
Yes.
And sometimes what husbands do is it's not their original thought. They're
Right.
gonna do what they originally thought,
Exactly.
and just put what the wife said aside, and that can be a mistake at times.
Yeah. Like I said, I've learned that.
That's just an illustration.
Right.
That's just an illustration. But I will say that other things, even with the house, especially with decor and stuff like that, when my wife, I don't be caring, but when she gets through with it, I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's right, that's
Yeah.
good, that's good.
I'm like, same thing with when she's trying to, do the decorating and all of that stuff. I'm like, yeah, baby, I don't see it, but okay, do what you're gonna do. And when she's done, I'm like, yeah, I see it now. I see it. I see it. That is not one of my things.
Right.
I think we do a real good job of capitalizing on each other's weaknesses. And decorating is not my forte. I have no interest in it. I put my little 2 cents in and I back out. And I let her do her thing. And when she's done, I'm like, yes, you like it? She said, yeah. I said, I like it too.
And it's probably more than 2 cents when you get through paying for it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It's more than 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy with the decision I made. I say a lot of times, I've told her before, you're the second best decision I ever made.
What's the first one?
Lord Jesus.
Okay, I just got to put it on the record, man. You got to put it on the record.
Yeah, the second best decision I ever made was marrying her, deciding choosing her for my wife,
Yeah.
and listening to her. She's very smart,
Yes.
and when you find somebody who is smart and understands you and wants to understand you, I think it's just wise to just listen to them. Kind of take their advice sometimes and count up the cost.
Yeah, count up the cost. And it doesn't diminish a man's headship to pay attention to what his wife says.
Right.
And not to say necessarily obey your wife, but listen. And that wife should be able to influence what's about to happen through what she say.
Right.
Now, if it's if it's not the right thing to do, as a head and as a leader, you ought to be able to communicate, okay, this is why we should do this and that.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Right,
saying?
exactly. And
And
that's what I do.
sometimes the best ideas is your ideas as a head, as a leader. Sometimes the best idea could be the wife's whole stock. But then sometimes the best idea is the one you come up with together.
The mesh of
One
yes.
you come up with together, some of me and some of her,
Right,
and then
right.
you say, "Oh wow!"
Yeah.
And you couldn't have came up with that by yourself,
Right.
And it's like, "Wow, now this is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is really good. I sure appreciate you, because you can know, now that wasn't in me.
Right.
This was, but this other part over here,
Right.
now this is what make this plan
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's how that's how we've operated all these years, even with raising our kids, buying houses, cars, or whatever. It doesn't matter. How we discipline, how we whatever we've done it together. A little bit of me, a little bit of her.
Yes.
She may negotiate one thing, and then she say, and then say, okay, now I'm turn it over to him, and then I work out the little picky stuff and
Fine details.
and that's how we've always done it, and it's benefited us.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the dynamic shifting with the children. Yeah, like I say, sometime my wife, she's my baby mama. I know the world has that.
Yeah.
And so she's my wife, but she's all that. She's got the whole package.
The whole package.
The whole package.
Right.
So
Yes.
yeah, I think you
I agree.
You got the pack. You got the package.
Yep.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
My baby daddy.
And is your boyfriend?
And my boyfriend.
Okay, very
Yes.
good, very good. All right, so now here's the thing. All right, so let's talk a bit about that dynamic and what that did for your marriage and your love for each other. To have this engineer over here, that's one of your babies.
Yes.
I'm an engineer, and then you got two girls and two sons, and so let's talk a little bit about what that has done for your journey. You know, that help you to get to the now. They help you to get to the now. Okay, you started out, and then you kind of got in that journey and married each other, and then here come the first child.
Yes.
And then you said that submission began to come in and set in on you that, hey, you know, let me do this like this. But let's speak a little bit about, you know, the dynamic shifting with the children.
So at first, we weren't even sure that we would be able to have children just due to some medical conditions that I had. And so that was a number one conversation that we had before we even got married. And like I told him that I can distinctly remember the phone call of calling him and saying, hey, the doctor said I might not be able to have kids, so let's not get married. We were engaged. And I was like, well, you don't have to marry me if you don't want to, because I know you want kids. And so I guess that was also part of the reason why it was that shift in my mind with the submission, because he had already, in my sense, made a sacrifice to say, even if we can't have children. But when our son was born, he changed into a whole different person, like immediately. When he came into this world, you could tell he was a dad. Like instantly, you could tell he was a dad, because we had, I'm going to say disagreements. I don't want to call it an argument, but we had disagreements about whether or not he was going to change diapers. He has this phobia against diapers and soiled diapers in the wrong aspect. And he's like, I can't do that. I was like, oh, yes, you are. Like, we made this kid together. You're going to change, you know, both types of diapers. And he's like, I can't.
So I'm not going to change the brown diapers. I'm only going to change clear diapers.
So he just was not. But as soon as our son was born, he changed his son.
Yeah.
And it was, he used to wear baseball caps to the front. As soon as our son was born, his baseball caps went to the back. And it was like he was in dad mode at that point. And he started taking care. And that gave me more confidence in him, because I saw the power that he had as a father and trying to take care of. It wasn't just me at the time, because I essentially could take care. It's bad to say I could take care of myself, because I was already working without having been married and had income.
You was an independent type person.
I was, yeah. And to get with him and then start to see how he made decisions based on there being two of us. Even at pregnancy, he treated me completely different when he found out that we were having a child versus how it was when we were just he and I together. So that shifted a lot.
You know, and I'm going to let you speak. I'm going to let you speak, brother. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
You changed. See, but you didn't say that at first. You said that when you had your first child, you saw that but here's what it sounds like happened. You changed partially because he changed. Is that true? Would you say that's a true statement?
I would say that's true.
That part of what happened in you saw something shift in him, and that shifted you. And the reason why I wanted to make that distinction is because sometimes a person is looking for the other person to change.
Right.
And sometimes the change happens when somebody has to change first.
Right.
That's what I'm really trying to say. Somebody has to change first. Because I was having a situation in my marriage at one time, and I was looking at my wife, about what she was doing, and it just dawned on me: change, change, do better yourself, and don't worry about what she's doing. And God knows, when I made a shift in what I was doing, the whole thing shifted. The whole marriage shifted.
Right.
And I just wanted to testify to that. Yes, sir.
Being a husband is different than being, I know I'm stating the obvious, but being a husband is different than just being a male.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because you have involved somebody else.
Yes.
in your life. Now you got to try to figure out, okay, how can we make this work? I've described marriage as you are combining two nations. All those people have poured into her, and all those people have poured into me. So now we got to negotiate, have peace treaties, so to speak, in order to make a profitable, peaceful nation, so to speak. So being a father is another thing that you have to consider and add into it. Now you bring in
Offspring?
spouse. You bring in that's offspring. Yeah,
Offspring,
that's what.
yeah.
Bringing offspring into the equation. Now I got to build. So now you building a nation. Instead of just having a nation, you building a nation. So when you do that, okay, now I got to think about how this person think. Okay, if I do this, how this person going to react? So even when it comes down to discipline your kids, or you want to have a conversation with the wife, or I won't even say it like this, you want to have a conversation with yourself about how you need to handle things or how things need to go. You have to really be contemplating a lot of stuff, because it's not the easiest thing to do. So changing, I think, is inevitable. No matter who you are, where you are in your life, or what you're dealing with, you have to change.
Yeah. And, you do have to change, but then what you changing into?
Right.
Yes.
Because some people change, but they don't change good and well, and some people change well,
Right.
So,
So you want to change to where people can benefit from it.
yeah. So what helped you change?
What helped me change was, the first change that I noticed was when my oldest boy was born, and I looked at him, and it was like a flood of information, of knowledge, just came into me, and I felt it. I'm like, what is this? And what it was me. Now I got to consider him. I got to consider him and the different choices that I make, how that's going to make him. That was different for me.
Yeah.
Never really done that before.
Yeah.
So that was the change. That was the first. Of course, I had changed before. Coming from the guy who just went after a lot of girls or whatever, or chased girls, to the guy now I'm married. Now I'm a father. Oh, that's different.
So when the fatherhood came, then you had to turn.
Had to transform. Yeah, that's when I really noticed it. I loved her, or I liked her. Fell in love with her later. But now I love this son that I have, or this child that I have. So I need to cherish it, nourish it, and provide for it. And that's when I really, really noticed the first inkling of a change for me. So yeah.
Very good. So now multiply that.
Yeah, and each one of them are different.
Yes,
Totally
yeah. So you started with that first one, then you multiplied that, and ended up with 4.
Yeah.
So it's just a little dynamic with now you got 4 children. I won't talk about each one and what that did, but now you got 4 children. So what was that like for you? 4 children and a husband.
A lot. It was a lot. I think the one thing about having 4 children that I felt like was the most difficult thing was going to church. That was the most difficult, because I had to get 5 people dressed. He had to get 1. And so come on, baby, it's time to go.
You sure didn't have to get 6?
he was quick to get up and get dressed and like, come on, baby, it's time to go. I'm like, if you can help with these other ones, maybe we can get out the door on time, because it was always my responsibility to lay out the clothes, get the kids dressed, cleaned, and everything. So that was probably the most difficult part about having 4 children
And I had to evolve into that.
You had to grow.
I had to grow into
in
that.
grace,
Yes.
and knowledge,
Yes.
to help with that process.
Yeah, I did.
Were you that guy who, at a certain time, is like, we gotta go, but you didn't do the.
That's why I said I had to train. I had to have a conversation with myself. How can I get this better? Make this better? So yeah, started getting ready for church the day before.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I had to learn how to do that, and it was.
You take the boys, and I take the girls.
Yeah,
So that kind of broke it up.
broke it up a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Then y'all started being on time for church, huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
But you know, really though, this may really help some people, because sometimes we can do. I just one thing that happened to me recently. Now this wasn't with the kids; it was just me and my wife. Empty nest at this time, but I was talking to my wife like, "Hey, I need to be at church. I can't get there on time. If I'm getting to the church, the time church starts, I'm late. I can't get there at the time church starts. I got to get there." And she says to me in a kind of calm way, "Well, close the blinds, because we can't leave with the house open." So, that rubbed me a certain type of way, though. I'm just gonna tell you that it rubbed me a certain type of way.
Yeah.
But you know what? I thought about it. I said, well, if we ain't leaving till the blinds close, the miles way up. And I just went around closing them blinds,
Yeah.
so we can get out of there. So we can get out of there.
Right.
Right.
Now, and then even, sometimes, you have to think about some of this stuff. So what is it going to look like, me just squealing out of just leaving my wife behind at a certain time? I'm just leaving and not helping with leaving, I'm just going to just leave. And then I show up at the church, right time. Then my wife come in later, all upset. And then I'm got to teach people about love and peace. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Exactly what you're saying. Me and my wife.
Yeah.
We're a little bit different than what you guys are. We take 2 different cars to church.
Now.
Now we did, because it was an issue. You ain't coming. Well, it was. This is funny, because I wanted to get there on time. When she went out to church, she wanted to leave before I did. So to alleviate that situation, 2 separate cars.
Yeah.
And talking about peace.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got, and I do that. Now, what my point is that I left in anger.
Okay.
And frustrated, and I left her.
Yeah.
We was intending to drive 2 cars at that time, but not
One
2, but
car.
1. And then, but I just left her.
Right.
But and didn't help her to leave. I just up in this. That kind of thing.
Right.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Because a lot of times now we do have to, because I have to get here earlier than she have to get here, or she has a responsibility. Those type of things happen.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But the just listening to each other, husband and wife listening to each other, talking to each other, will eliminate a lot of confusion
Yes.
and heartache.
Yes.
That's true.
Because the kids getting dressed for service on Sunday probably to him was something small. Like, we just have to get ready to go to church.
Yeah.
For me, it was big, and it started to kind of fester within me. Like, all you got to do is help. All you got to do is help. And yes, there was parts of angry that kind of peeked its ugly head, because I'm like, help me. I'm getting 5 people dressed. You're just doing you. And
that's when it ding, ding, ding. Ding. Oh, yeah, she's right. Hadn't thought about it.
You're sitting downstairs.
waiting.
All decked out. Sitting downstairs.
Ready.
We gotta go. We gotta go. What's wrong with you?
And his 4 kids.
Yeah.
The kids that he helped me to bring into this world.
Right. So, like I say, not really thinking.
I can almost picture you just sitting downstairs fussing.
No, I wasn't fussing. I'm doing a lot of fussing. No. But just the frustration that she had.
Uh-huh.
I was just like, yeah, something's got different has to be done.
Yeah.
And then when she said, "You're getting one person, and I'm getting 5 people," I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, so
You start doing your calculations.
yeah, this ain't So
Yeah,
it changed
Yeah.
how I looked at things and evaluated stuff.
So you raise your children.
Yes.
Now that's done. And that has been a blessing to your marriage. Do you feel like it really drew you closer in by those challenges and the growth that they kind of forced upon you?
Yeah.
Like I said before, change is inevitable. As those
Yeah.
kids or children change, you have to change.
Yes.
You can't treat a 13-year-old like you would treat a 1-year-old. That it needs to happen. I mean, you can't, and the change from one child to the next child. You need to do that as well.
Yeah.
Because the different personalities, different quirks.
Yeah. I even think about that sometimes, and we're getting ready to transition to the now part, where you are now. But I think about that sometimes as it pertains to like actually needing a mother to be involved in a young lady's life who's has a child or children. And how sometimes a young lady may say, okay, I got a child, but now, and so now you have the second child, and you say, well, I already know how to be a mother because of my first child. But the second child, it brings a whole different dynamic. And so a mother can tell you, if she's raised multiple children, she can tell you, okay, now here's what you got to do now.
Right.
Because it's different.
It's totally different.
It's different. And now, see, you've raised all of your children. And that's how mothers are created, because I'm talking about mothers in the church. Experience. Now you've experienced raising 4 children. And it's some things now
Yes.
that you didn't know with 1, 2, or even 3 children.
Right.
It's some things, you learn some things with all that different dynamic and shifting, and it's some skills that go along with that.
Absolutely.
And that's what I would tell any mother. You got 1 or you got 2 children, and you have a third. Counsel. I mean, don't just assume you know what you need to know because you got a child or 2 already.
No.
You need to be open-minded.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's some things that somebody can share with you. Okay, now this is what you're going to have to do now, baby. A mother can share some things with you. You agree with that?
I totally agree with that. And that's why I was thankful to have the mothers in the church to kind of help guide me, even from the first all the way through. It was his mom being a very integral part of our lives. It still is. Like things that go on, she will still reach out. We'll still have conversations about where our adult children are, because she raised all of her kids are adults. And so still learning from the wisdom of her on how to handle specific issues or concerns. But yeah, it truly does take a village to help raise, or should I say a community to help raise children. And as a mom, then for me, it was all respect to the ones that have gone before me and have handled this. Like calling my mom on the phone all the time, every day on the phone with my mom on how do you do things? How do you get 2 girls' hair done at the same time? As far as the boys' hair getting cut, like how are we getting their hair cut? What about how do I get a dress for this or a dress for that? Like different things that they even went through in school, and being able to learn from them how to handle specific situations that may have occurred for our children in school. But it took getting that advice from others, because I'm new to this. Like I've never had 4 kids before. It's all new. So learning that was really learning how they handle things. I may not have went down this exact same path, but there were pieces and parts of what they provided to me that allowed me to be able to handle it in our, space, in our bubble at the time.
Yes. So, fast forward to now. So where are you now?
Loving life.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not empty nesters, by the way. We are not empty nesters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
No.
And that is okay. But where is your relationship now with, even with, you have adult children at home with you. And so, but here's the thing I'm aiming at now is this. You are in a different season of life.
Yes.
And so in this season, where is your relationship now?
We're dating again.
Ah,
And it's interesting. It's interesting. Because last week, let's look at last week.
So bad.
Love spending time with each other, right? So we went out to eat,
yes.
and the plan was to go to the movies. All right. Neither of us wanted to go to the movies, but we didn't know.
So some assumptions
we
was going on.
We're
Okay.
going through the motions, like,
Okay.
okay, what movie you want to see? What movie you want to see? What movie you want to see? We're going through all of that. And this is so crazy. You know what we did?
What's that?
Walked through stores.
Window shopped.
That's all we did.
But it was the best time. I had so much fun.
And I'm like, yeah, this is the season we're in. Yes. I mean, 30 years ago, dinner and a movie. But dinner and shopping, window shopping, that's a new one on us.
And then, what did y'all buy?
Nothing.
And you was happy? And you was happy? You kept your money, and then you got a chance to see some stuff.
Yeah, we didn't buy anything, so that was crazy for us. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic.
Went home and laughed about it. Shared
Yeah.
the story with the kids. Like, oh, we were supposed to go to this movie and be out late. We came home to my daughter watching a movie on TV with one of her friends, and it was just like, okay. They were like, okay, Mom, y'all will get better. They're telling us we'll get better at
Yeah,
dating.
because you're kind of learning this dating thing again. Is that a true statement or what's?
It's not that. It's just learning. Just doing things differently than what we typically would do. Sometimes we kind of say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But that time we was like, yeah, that's not what I want to do this time. So it's not necessarily learning the other one, but just maybe need to do a better job of communicating a little bit better about some things. But that was interesting to me.
Do you feel like you're beginning to be more spontaneous now, or you still
No.
you still a planner?
It's I plan. Yeah.
You're a planner.
We took a trip last year around this time, and everything has to be planned out in order for us to, kind of. It's not that I say everything has to be. It really doesn't have to be completely planned out, but because our lives he's still a full-time worker and I'm a full-time worker. So just to make sure that our schedules are aligned in the best way possible, we do plan out, what we.
And sometimes we break the plan. Sometimes we break the plan, but last week it was really funny to me because, we never really, that was funny. To just go out to dinner and just window shop. Never done that before. And I had so much fun.
Yeah, because what I figured out is that sometimes it's not the activity.
It's the time.
It's who you're with,
Yeah.
and it's that quality of time to being together. In fact, on Fridays, I come and I do this, but really, that's usually the time that I like to on Fridays. So when I'm done here, I'm going home to my wife, and that's our time where we just, have time together. And we'll do, different things or prepare a meal or go eat somewhere. That's some of our time. And sometimes some of the best time is to go out on the patio and just sit out there and just, put your feet up and just talk.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we'll just walk the yard. Be with each other.
Be with each other.
Yeah, that's...
It's my love language. Quality time.
Quality time.
It's my love language.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that. Just being with her. Just learning her more.
And that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things is this that you start out, you perhaps have children if
Right.
you have them. You know, some don't. And, you know, and on the side note to that is it's a blessing to have children.
It is.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And if you don't have children, that also can be a blessing.
It can be.
Yes.
I know that sometimes people want the other, you understand, but that can be a blessing too now, you know. So some people are blessed with and some are blessed without. Don't say that you're cursed just because you don't have the other.
No.
Right.
You know, don't look at it like that. I would encourage you not to look at it like that, because God has different ways of blessing different people. And but to go from, you know, just the two of you to the six of you.
Yeah.
And then now your responsibility is really, even though you have adult children, some stay with you, which is fine. Really now your attention is toward each other again.
Right. Her transitioning from a mother back to my wife.
Your wife, yes.
Yeah. Now I have to, okay, she's changed.
Mm-hmm.
The things that she used to like or was interested in, she's not interested in those things anymore. She's evolved. So I need to evolve. So I need to spend time with her to learn who she is, so that my evolution is not so complicated. I want my evolution to be smooth as well. So I need to spend time with her.
Yeah. One more thing I like to say about that, and then we'll go to closing remarks. But I know some people say, 20, almost 29, almost 29. Some people say, well, same person, 29 years. Well, not really, because you're not the same.
Right.
So yes and no, really. You know, same person, because that statement is a negative statement that sometimes people try to make. You mean tell me you're gonna spend the rest of your life with the same person?
Right.
Not really. Yes and no.
Some changes
We're
took
going to
place.
change along the way.
Right.
So we're not going to be the same all the way through.
Yep.
We're going to grow, we're going to develop, and we're going to be different in different ways. And so our relationship is going to be changing all along the way.
Right.
So it's not going to be the same all the way through.
Right.
Right.
And I can just tell you, it's not.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Right. Right.
Yes,
Right.
it is the same person, same DNA.
Right. Right.
We got to understand
Right.
what we're talking about
They think
now.
differently now. She thinks differently. now.
Yes. Yeah, so we're not the same.
Right, right.
We've grown. In fact, if the person stays the same all the way through,
something
then
wrong.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Something happened along the way.
Right. Right.
Development wasn't happening.
Right. Exactly.
Growth wasn't taking place.
Right.
Right.
You know, yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah,
we're
she-
not the same exactly.
Right. She's grown, and I've changed.
Yes.
You've grown.
I've
You've
grown.
grown.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But always thanking God for meeting her and letting me partner up with her, so that we could blend and have a family. It's been a great experience for me.
Yeah.
It really has.
Yes.
And be honest with you, the experiences that we've had, I wouldn't change a lot of it. I just wouldn't. It's helped me. It's
So even the tough stuff.
yeah, the tough stuff as well. I didn't say all of it.
I understand. I understand.
I didn't say all of it, but most of it.
Uh-huh.
I would keep it the same. It's show me the type of person I could be as well. Also, how you have to change in order to accommodate somebody else. It's been an experience for me.
Yeah.
It's been joyous,
Joyous. Okay.
memorable.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would say the same. We typically tell each other, or if someone asks us, he's been the best thing that's happened to me, and I've been the best thing that's happened to him. And we wouldn't change it, despite the rough times. I think the rough times helped me to become a real woman. When I look back on it, I started with the mind of a little girl, and now I know how to take a step back and really analyze the situation, learn how to take the marriage altogether. You have to learn how to kind of take self out of it, and then look at it from a perspective of the family. And I've learned how to be able to kind of take my own personal, I mean, my opinion is still there, but if he says no, now I don't blow up and get mad about it like I did when we first started. There's a reason why he's saying what he's saying. Those rough times brought about an intensity of trust. I trusted him after we had our first child. That's when my level of trust, I trusted him in the beginning, but my level of trust intensified after our first child. We went through a lot of struggle with employment, housing, different things of that nature, and it just being able to listen to his advice and trusting that his advice was the best for our family helped me to be able to become the person that I am today too.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been a long journey.
Yes.
It's been right there by my side.
By your side.
Yes.
And thank God for where he brought you from then to now.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we'd like to say to our Growing in Grace family, we're glad that you're here, and glad that the Boyd family has shared their testimony for their journey with us. And we invite you to come back next week, like, share, and subscribe the podcast with others that could benefit from this conversation. May God bless you, and may heaven smile upon you. Until the next podcast, come on back.